Okay, so this video here is for factoring simple quadratics, and when I mean simple, it means that the leading coefficient a is equal to 1, so you'll see like x squared plus 5x plus 6. Factoring is undoing the FOILing process, okay, so we're going to undo that. So we're going to take something that's in this format and turn it into the pre-FOIL format, where it's two binomials like this. So we have x plus 2, x plus 3. If we FOILed that out, we would get this x squared plus 5x plus 6. So that's what we're doing in this video here. So again, factoring is undoing the FOILing. We're going to do this process for a equals 1, meaning that leading coefficient's 1. So these are the easy or the simple quadratics. Okay? So what we're looking at here first is looking at a FOIL. Oops, let's do x plus 3, x plus 5. We're going to do the FOIL, and then we're going to go backwards on this. So when we FOIL, these first two terms multiply to get x squared. Okay, so that's where the f star is for. And then the outside one, you get 5x, and the 3x is the inside. And then finally, the last ones are multiplied. Okay, so if I had a problem, x squared plus 8x plus 15, notice that the 5 and the 3 are added together. And then the 5 and the 3 were multiplied. So if I add the 5 and 3, that makes 8. If I multiply 5 and 3, I get 15. And it's because of the FOILing process. So 3 times 5 is 15, and 3 plus 5 is 8. And this works for these simple ones when the leading coefficient's 1. Okay, so we're looking for two numbers that multiply to be 15 and combine to be 8. Since 15 is positive, I'm looking at 1 times 15, 3 times 5. So those are the two possibilities we have. It could be 1 plus 15, but that isn't 8. That isn't 8, is it? 1 plus 15 is not 8. And 3 plus 5 is 8. So it's like you have your first step is list all the ones that are possible and then check it. See which one works. And so 3 plus 5 is 8. Oops, 8. And this is a plus-plus situation, meaning that you just need to look at this last number here to figure out if they're both the same sign or if they're opposite signs. Is one positive, one negative. Understand that if I have positive 15, the only way to get two numbers that multiply to be positive is if they're both positive or both negative. Well, how do two numbers that are both positive, if you multiply them, they add them. If you add them together, then you're going to get a positive. If you had two negatives added together, you'd get a negative. So we'll do a couple of many examples here. X squared plus 7x plus 12. So looking for possibilities that multiply to be 12. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. Okay. The fact that it's positive 12, that means that they're both the same sign. So we're looking for the combination to be positive 7. 1 plus 12 is 13. 8. 2 plus 6 is 8. Nope. 3 plus 4 is 7. So we have our magic numbers. X plus 3, x plus 4. Okay? Let's do another example. Let's go x squared 11x plus 30. Some of you are going to be really good at this because you know your multiplication facts. Others are going to struggle because they don't know their multiplication facts. 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10. Is there any other ones? 5 times 6. Okay. 1 plus 30, 31. Not the winner. 2 plus 15, 17. Not the winner. 3 plus 10, 13. Not the winner. 5 plus 6, 11. That's the winner. So, since it's positive 30, they're both positive, so it's x plus 5 and x plus 6. They're both the same sign, I should have said, when I said x, since it's positive 30. They're both either positive, they're both negative. I'll show you where it would have been negative. Same looking problem, except instead of being plus 11x, It's now minus 11x. It's still the 5 and the 6. That's 30, and they combine to be 11. However, it's negative 11. Negative 5 times negative 6 is positive 30. Negative 5 plus negative 6 is negative 11. So that would be negative 11. So that's what we want. So it's x minus 5, x minus 6. So if they're the same, if it's a plus the c, it means they're the same sign. Okay? That's a very important part to understand. Alright, let's do another. Now this time, it is minus 16. That means that one is positive and one is negative, because when you multiply a positive and negative, you will get a negative. Oops, not negative 1, but a negative. And so if I have them added together, a positive plus a negative, which one's bigger here? If my result is positive, that means the positive is the bigger number. If I take a positive and add it to a negative, and the negative is bigger, then the negative, and you get a negative answer, then the negative is bigger. So that's the thought process behind this. Some of you will be really quick at this. Others are going to struggle for a little bit. Still, factors of 16. 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 4 times 4 on 16. Now, since one's positive, one's negative, we're looking for the difference. So the difference of 1 and 16 is 15. The difference between 8 and 2 is 6. Ding, 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 that's the winner. All right? So 6, so the difference here. That means subtraction. So, do I want a positive 8? Do I want this to be positive and this to be negative, or vice versa? Well, since it's positive 6, that means the positive is bigger. So it's going to be x plus 8 and x minus 2. Okay? X plus 8, x minus 2. Alright, let's do another. Another example here. X squared minus 4x minus, let's make this negative 21. So, it's negative 21, so what combines to be 21? 1 times 21, 3 times 7. Not many options. But since it's minus, it's going to be subtraction. So 21 minus 1 is 20. 7 minus 3 is 4. That's the winner. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, so 4 is, so these are the combinations. The fact that I have a negative in the middle here, that means the negative is bigger. So it's going to be x minus 7, x plus 3. All right. One more of these with a minus sign here. X squared. Let's go with plus 3x minus, so that makes one positive, one of them negative. Okay, that's very important to understand that one of them's positive, one's negative. Minus 10. Always step 1. Step 1. Factors of c. That's step 1. Okay? So, 1 times 10, 2 times 5, that's it. Now, if we get there and none of these work, that means it's not factorable. But this one is. 2 and 5, if you take the difference of those, you'll get 3. Because the difference, because it's minus 10. If you go back to one of these problems here, it was plus, so we're looking for the sum. 2 plus 6 was 8. But since in our last example here, since it's a minus, we're looking for the difference. So I want it to be a positive 3, so that makes it x plus 5. I need the bigger one to be positive. And x minus 2. Now there's also special cases. So this week we not only will do these, but we'll also do special cases. And it's called the difference of squares. That's when you have a squared minus b squared. That means that the middle term is 0. So if I have like x squared minus 16, I need two numbers that multiply to be a negative 16. So 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 4 times 4. So one's positive, one's negative because it's minus 16. And then the middle number, they're going to combine to be 0 because it's like this has been written, x squared plus 0x minus 16. Of course, we don't write the 0x because you don't need 0 written. So it's x squared minus 16. So 4 minus 4 is 0. That's what we want. That's the winner. So it's going to be x minus 4, x plus 4. These are also called conjugates of each other, meaning that conjugates are when you multiply, the middle terms cancel out. So another example of a conjugate would be x plus 3, x minus 3. If I FOIL this, I'd get x squared, negative 3x, positive 3x, minus 9. Notice how those middle terms cancel out. And so that's why this difference of squares is so nice. So if you see the difference of squares, as long as it's a square, we can do this. So like an example, 4x squared minus 25. It has to be difference. That's why it's called difference of squares. That means it's got to be subtraction. What times itself is 4x squared? And what times itself is 25? So 2x times 2x is 4x squared. That's the first part. What times itself is 25? 5 and 5. One's positive, one's negative. That's the difference of squares. Let's do one more. Let's go 64. X to the 6th. This is a harder one. Minus, so it's difference, so we could possibly have that. 49. Okay? What times itself is 64x to the 6th? That's the hard part. And what times itself is 49? That's the easy one. 7 and 7. One's positive, one's negative. Well, 64 is 8 times 8. How many x's, though? When you multiply, you add exponents, so it's going to be 3 and 3. And so that's the difference of squares. All right, so we've got simple factoring this week and difference of squares, and we've got to get good at it. We'll do factoring tiles and that kind of stuff.